Alright guys, this is Mike from Boyer Bows. We're going to do some tip overlay work now. This is a very rough cut of what they're going to look like in the end. And you can see the sides, the back, I even put a little on the front, and a little bit of a rough rounding of the tip beyond. Alright, so now I'm sure this is how I'm doing the Nocks here. There's probably a lot of different ways you can do it. Wait, not probably. There are a lot of different ways you can do it, but this is how I'm doing it. And hopefully you guys can see this well enough in the camera. Let me turn the light on here. You'll be able to see this well enough in the picture. Anyway, I'm going to do the best I can here. Alright, so basically what I like to do when I put it in my vise, I try to keep the bow as flat as possible, because Nocks are kind of important. People overlook them a lot in the building process. But normally I would go, my thumb is about 1 inch wide, and I would go from the top, I'd go about 1 inch down. I want these to look a little bit, but you saw the design, I want these to look a little bit like a horn knock. So what I'm going to do is go to the bottom of the tip overlay and go up to the 1 inch mark here, and that's where my first cut is going to be, and it's going to be straight across. I put my thumb down and I just start using this round chainsaw file to start the knock, and I just, you know, look at what I'm doing. It looks straight to me, keeping it as straight as possible. Now if this were part of the bow and not a tip overlay, you might not want to cut in here, because then you'd be technically cutting into the back of the bow, and the bow it might make it might split, frankly. If that's the case, what you would do instead is draw a straight line across here and then mark your spots on either side as where you would start cutting the diagonal knock into the diagonal portion of the knock where the string would lay, and this would remain smooth. But because I have these tip overlays, I can just go in and do it. If you've got a lot of wood here as well, you're probably okay, but it's really up to you guys where you are in this build. Alright, so just going to get a nice groove started here. So I'm just going to kind of get this done as best I can for you right now so you guys can see the process. Alright, the next thing I would do is, now that I have my line across, I would go over here, make sure I'm still in the frame here. Now, the diagonal knocks, always, if you're not sure, if you want to be safe, let me move the camera a little bit here, and there we go. It always goes down toward the center of the bow, obviously, but if you need an angle, it's always a 45-degree angle. Okay, now I like to eyeball it. I know that may not be the best way in this case, because if your knocks are even a little bit off, technically it could result in a limb twist. Alright, so what you're better off doing is getting out a little protractor device and measuring a 45. This part is still flat, so you can stick the flat end against here. It'll give you a perfect 45-degree angle. You draw a pencil mark and there's your 45-degree angle. What I like to do is I like looking at it as if the rat file is the string, and when the bow is sitting static on the string, not being drawn, but it is strung, I look at this angle in here and decide if that's where I think I like where the bow is. And that's just me having done a lot of bows over time, and I get a pretty good result. I haven't had a problem with twist for a long time that's as a result of the Nocks. I've had twist problems as a result of the wood, but not of the Nocks. So anyway, I just get the measurement I like, I put my thumb there as a guide, and I make my first groove, just like that. And I kind of give it, you know, the same as the rasp. It's going to file down the uneven surfaces quicker than it will a flat surface. So I just kind of get it started like that. Then I go in the groove, take a notch out there, roll it a little so it's smooth, and take the notch there. Now, obviously I got a lot more to do here, but for the sake of speed, I'm going to flip it. Come to the other side. And I kind of feel where that groove is over here. I kind of take a look, not getting into camera. Go again, take a look, and then again use my finger as a guide. Oops, and just kind of taking a look. Those look pretty even to me, so just kind of get in there and make our other string knock. And yes, I do wrap it down this side a little bit because the string is going to want to rub against this edge, and if it rubs against this edge instead of having a groove, it can fray over time. So we just sort of connect our dots. Let's see, obviously I'm going to clean it up a lot more than it is, but let's just take a quick look at how that looks. We've got this action going for us down nice here, and then these lines I got to clean them up, but you can see they're basically at the same spot there, and that's where the string's going to lay. Now, as far as the design goes that I did, it's sort of a teardrop design, a very large teardrop design. I just take the sander and I come in here and I just start sanding it down. Now, the one thing I don't want to do is sand anything below this. You can almost take this out to almost, you know, a pencil tip, as long as the groove is maintained. So you can actually come into the top of the groove without really any worry, because the string's going to be pulling down on this, but the shelf below it needs to be deep and maintained and smooth and holding on to your string all nice so it doesn't slip. And you can see already, and you can do this whatever you want, guys. I mean, you can look on magazines and see what other string grooves look like. Okay, that's never a good thing. Try not to do that. But you just sort of, so you can kind of see it happening already. Alright, you can go in with a rasp as well, or a file as well, and just, you know, just make it happen. And once we have these in and solid, we can start working on the tiller of the bow. I got a couple of tricks I'll show you. If you've never tillered before, I've got a little tool I'll show you how to use that will really help you. And that's coming up in the next video. Let's see if I have it available as a teaser. No, I don't.